Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samaya, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how I cope with feelings of anxiety and feeling overwhelmed. And I know that anxiety is something that a lot of people, if not all people, have experienced, and I just want to share some things that I've found very helpful in my life. And I've noticed that honestly the way that I cope with anxiety has just become significantly healthier within the recent years. And I personally haven't had a therapist or gone to therapy. These are just little tools that I've learned throughout my life and just some things that I think would be very helpful. And these are also just simply suggestions. So yeah, let's get into it. So I dealt with anxiety for a lot of my life. It was a very frequent feeling and emotion that would come up for me. And when I was younger, sometimes my personality could be very high strung and neurotic at times. And honestly, that's something else I've been working on in the recent years. But it was very easy for me to just get very anxious and to overthink and let my thoughts spiral. And sometimes this would cause panic attacks, which would get pretty bad because it would feel like I was literally out of my body and I couldn't breathe. If you've had a panic attack, you understand that feeling, but they would happen kind of often, and it was because I literally would let anxiety consume me and I had no idea how to deal with it. I had no idea how to manage the panic attacks, how to manage my feelings, and I actually haven't had a panic attack in a pretty long time, and I credit it. I really think it's because of all of these little things I'm going to tell you guys about in this video. So one of the biggest things that's helped me is just shifting my perspective on anxiety. I began to understand that anxiety really just stems from not being present and worrying about a reality that isn't even happening right now in this moment. It's like projecting a future that hasn't even happened yet, pretty much. And also just seeing anxiety and kind of the whole spectrum of emotions as visitors and information. And just because I am feeling anxiety right now doesn't mean that I am anxiety. I don't have to let it consume me. It's a very valid feeling that I'm feeling right now, because of course we don't want to bypass feelings, and the only way to cope with or deal with the feeling is to actually feel it. But I am not a victim to this feeling of anxiety. A lot of the time we can self-identify with anxiety, and that just causes us to spiral even more, and to kind of have that bird's eye view of, okay, right now I'm experiencing anxiety. I understand, why this is happening, beginning to understand, okay, you might not be present, you might be worrying about something that's not happening right now, but I see right now that I am experiencing anxiety, and that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. That's okay. It is an emotion that is, kind of within my body and my mind right now, but I'm just gonna see it as that. And that perspective shift has just really helped me. Before, I never really understood the root of anxiety or what it really was. So that a lot of the time would cause me to spiral even more and just feel even more out of control, because, when you worry about something that hasn't even happened yet, or you make up scenarios in your head and all of that, your body does not know the difference between that actually happening and you just thinking about it. And so when you have that response in your body, it can feel so real. And I used to feel like anxiety was like this carousel that just keeps spinning around and around and around. You can't get off. And what we want to do is be able to get off of that carousel. And that whole shift of understanding my emotions, understanding my anxiety, and also validating it has helped me cope with anxiety in healthier ways and feel less like a victim to my circumstances and what's going on within me. And it's also helped me just feel more in control. And I understand in moments of anxiety, when you're feeling it, you do feel out of control, and that's completely normal. But of course, you want to come out of that feeling more in control and just having that foundation of truly understanding your emotions and understanding anxiety instead of pushing against it and fighting with it. There's no need to make anxiety an enemy. You can kind of just see it as information. If that feeling comes up, if anxiety comes up, of course the first thing you should do is slow down and breathe, and definitely not bypass the feeling, but see it as information in the sense that your anxiety can show you how you're really feeling about something or the headspace that you're in. So becoming curious about that can be very helpful. So another thing that's helped me a lot is breathwork and meditation. And I know so many people talk about breathwork and meditation when it comes to anxiety, and you probably hear it so many times, but that's because it works. Breathwork and meditation have just been so helpful for me. It's helped me become more present and help me ease my thoughts and slow down my thoughts. And the two breathing techniques that I like to use are Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing, and then the 4-4-8 breath. So I wanted to show you guys how to do these breathing techniques in case any of you wanted to try them and to make it more accessible, and we can take a little moment to ground ourselves during this video. But I'm going to start with Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing. So you're going to need your hand. And what I like to do is I like to take my index finger and my middle finger and rest them in the middle of my forehead, and these fingers are just free. And I'm going to turn so you can see a little better. But what I'm going to do is close my left nostril with my ring finger and then inhale through my other nostril. So inhaling through my right nostril. And then I'm going to close my right nostril with my thumb and hold here. And then take my ring finger off of my left nostril and exhale through that nostril. And then you're going to repeat. So inhale through the left nostril. Close it and hold. And then release your thumb from your right nostril and exhale. And then inhale through that nostril. Close and hold. And then release your ring finger from your left nostril and exhale. And you can repeat that as many times as you want. I didn't know my cat was right here, but you can repeat that as many times as you would like and however long you want to do it. I recommend around like 10 to 15 minutes or even longer, but if you're short on time, 5 minutes will do the trick. And then the next breathing technique is 4-4-8 breathing. So what you're going to do, this one's very simple. You're just going to inhale for 4 counts. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to hold for 4 counts. So hold, 2, 3, 4. And then you want to extend your exhale and exhale for 8 counts. So exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then you're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's that one. And you can repeat that one as much as you want. You can pause the video and practice these breathing techniques. I love that one because it makes you extend your exhale, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's rest and digest type of function, so that you can begin to counteract your fight or flight response, which is something that anxiety causes. And I find that extending your exhale just really brings a lot more relaxation to the body, helps you focus more on your breathing rather than what your mind might be spiraling about. So yeah. The amazing thing about breath work is how it just shifts your attention and energy all to your breath, because a lot of the time when you're feeling anxiety or you're having a panic attack, you probably notice your breathing can become very short and fast and kind of like almost uncontrollable at times. So really just focusing and intentionally slowing down the breath really helps me, and it keeps me grounded, because a lot of the time when I'm feeling anxious, I can feel very like floaty. So breath work just brings me back into my body. And I personally make a point to focus more on slower breath work practices. I don't do any like breath of fire or just any fast-paced Kundalini breathing practices, if you know what those are, because I find that those increase my anxiety, because a lot of the time like breath of fire causes you to breathe very rapidly and fast, and that can be great when you're in a different headspace, but when I'm feeling anxious, I notice that fast breathing techniques kind of make it a little worse. So I would recommend focusing on more slow, deep breathing than anything fast or anything that is just kind of intense. And meditation is something that I do pretty much every single day. It's an ongoing practice for me, but the thing that I love about it for easing anxiety is just like breath work, it really just gets me grounded in the present moment, and it can also help me see my thoughts from more of a bird's eye view. And I would honestly recommend starting out with breath work before getting into meditation, because breath work allows you to focus on your senses, focus on your breathing. Sometimes it can be hard, like when you're having all these anxious thoughts, to just jump right into meditation and sit still and have your mind be quiet. So having something like the breath to focus on and to extend and all of that can really, really help before trying to get into clearing your mind and focusing on different things. I actually recently just posted a guided meditation on this channel, so if you're interested in starting a guided practice, I'll leave that in my description box below. But guided meditations can also be very helpful too, especially if you've never meditated before and you try to sit down to meditate and you have no idea what to do. Having someone guide you is just very nice and very helpful and makes it a lot easier, especially if your thoughts are kind of all over the place. Having a voice kind of guiding you and telling you how to breathe and what to visualize and focus on can make things a lot better. So I definitely recommend that. So the next thing that's helped me cope with my anxiety is journaling all of my thoughts. Sometimes when my headspace just feels way too crowded, I'll literally just journal everything I'm thinking just to get the energy out and somewhere else. And I love doing this. It feels like a release a lot of the time. And sometimes I like to read it back, and it helps me kind of like decode my feelings, decode my brain in a way and all my patterns. And I'll be like, okay, this is why I was feeling this way, or I see right now on this paper how much I'm overthinking, and everything right now in this moment is okay, but clearly my mind is somewhere else. So that has just been really helpful with not only anxiety, but becoming self-aware and aware of my triggers, aware of, what really gets me there. Sometimes when I'm feeling anxious, it just feels like there's so many thoughts and so much energy going on within me that I just need to release and get out on a piece of paper. And I also like to journal a lot of the time before I go to sleep, not even just when I'm feeling anxious, just kind of regularly, because whenever I do that, I notice I go to sleep with a much clearer mind, and then I don't wake up with anxiety. So that's also a little tip that I recommend, and something that I've also found very helpful. I also find that going outside in nature is really helpful. For me, nature just eases my spirit, and I just feel like it's so important to get out in nature in a world that is so disconnected from it. And it can be as simple as just going for a walk or going for a hike, or just simply sitting in nature. You can go to a park, literally anywhere that has trees. You can swim in the ocean, swim in lakes. I find that really healing. For me personally, whenever I go in the ocean, I just feel recharged and a lot more grounded than I did before I went in. But seeing how big and abundant the whole world of nature is really shifts my perspective on my life and on any problems I might be dealing with. It honestly gives me faith and hope that I can get through anything that I'm going through. And sometimes it's like a little reality check, like you're on a floating rock in the middle of space. Some of your things that you're worried or anxious about really don't need to be taking up that much of your energy. And sometimes that just does it for me. That's what gets me. But yeah, being outside, it doesn't even have to be super extravagant. You can go to a park that's close to you. You can be anywhere near any aspect of nature, and that can be very helpful as well. Having a presence exercise or like a presence practice that you can always rely on in times of anxiety is just a really great tool as well. One thing that would help me a lot when it came to like panic attacks was to look at my surroundings and literally just name 5 things that I see. And this was something that my mom would do with me if she was ever there and I was having a panic attack. And I found this to be so helpful because, like I had told you guys, whenever I would have a panic attack, and this is a pretty common thing, I would feel like out of my body, like I was not there. I did not know what was going on in the present moment. I didn't know what was going on around me. I was very floaty, couldn't really breathe. I was just not there. And so being able to look at my surroundings and just name things out loud that I'm seeing really helped me see what was really happening, what was really in front of me, and get out of my head a little bit. I also think it's really good to just practice becoming present in life, creating a practice that works for you, whether that's meditation, yoga, breath work, going outside, just in your regular life, not even just when you're feeling anxious, because that makes becoming present just at any time a lot easier, especially in times of anxiety. You can become more used to that feeling of presence, and it doesn't even have to look like breathing or meditation. It can literally just be like, you could be drawing and that could be a moment of presence for you. You can, sit and drink some tea and light an incense or light a candle, and that can be a moment of slowing down and presence. But having that be a part of your regular daily life can also get you used to returning to that feeling in any times of stress or in any times of anxiety. And I think when it comes to anxiety, it's really just learning healthier ways to cope with it. A lot of the time when I've told people that I used to have crippling anxiety and now I don't really have it, as much, they would be like, oh, so you cured your anxiety. How did you cure your anxiety? And anxiety isn't something that I really ever cured. It's just something that I've learned to respond differently to. And I think when we shift our focus from trying to cure it and really just focus on finding different ways to respond to it, shifting our perspective on it, and finding healthy ways to cope with it, that is where the real progression begins, and that is really what's going to bring more peace into your life. As humans, it's natural for us to experience the whole spectrum of emotions, and it's natural for us to occasionally experience anxiety, and I know that some people experience it more than others, but I think it's important to just release the stigma from anxiety and from all negative emotions and really just see them as messengers, as ways to get to know and understand ourselves a lot more, understand our minds and what we've been through and our feelings, and also ways that work for us to help better cope with them as well. So that was everything that I wanted to say about anxiety and just all the things that have helped me. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope that you guys are finding more ease within yourselves and being kinder to yourself and knowing the power that you have to move through anything. And thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a like if you did find this video helpful. I'm sending you all my love and all my support, and I will see you guys in a video soon. Bye.